Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Today's episode, we're going to talk about a book called The Man in the Universe, an Islamic Perspective. And specifically, I'm going to talk about chapter 87 of the book called The Imposter. Right? So, this book is by Mustafa al-Badawi, and it's a very beautiful book. And he describes how, in this chapter called The Imposter and the Western civilization, and he calls it the inverted civilization. So I'm going to read you a parascript of it, and we're going to talk about something very profound and a very important message to the Muslim Ummah, according to the Muhammad Qasim bin Abdul Karim's dreams and how do they relate. So, Bismillah. Judaism and Christianity both agree with Islam in affirming a downward trend for humanity, which is to continue until the cannibalistic hurling days of doomsday. Sometime during the late stages of this process, the Antichrist shall appear, who is not only the epitome of all evil, but also an inverted image of Jesus. May peace be and blessings be upon him. He will also claim to be that personality and personify. The Prophet, may God, blessing and peace be upon him, called him the imposter, the Dajjal, since his characteristic attributes will be relabeling good and evil, good as evil, evil as good, heaven as hell as heaven, himself as Christ, and Christ as Antichrist. And this is precisely the West has already succeeded in doing. They have redefined the human being as bringing them from the physical form to the forefront and defying and denying his spirit, redefining him thus as an animal, and they have set the stage to putting everything to the service of the body, thinking solely in the material terms, whereas all religions say that the man is degenerating. The West claims that, on the contrary, he's improving by day to day, which the implications that they give are that he is more advanced, more clever, and mature than anyone in the past has ever been. This evidently gives him the right to dismiss lightly the prophets and the sages of old and the timeless wisdom and speak of them in condescending and derogatory terms. Religion has been redefined as superstitious and the life to come as childish belief, deriving from inability to face reality. Miraculous events are no more than trickery, hypnosis, or self deluding fantasies. Alcohol, gambling, and usury are social condemned practice. Chastity has now become a charge that most youngsters are anxious to avoid. Homosexuality has already been legalized and is legal to have intercourse with any number of males, females, or even animals. But it is illegal to have two official recognized wives, each enjoining together with their children, fully giving them their rights. More than half of men and women in the West have extramarital affairs, good proportion have having multiple affairs. This range of what is defined as normal is rapidly being extended to exclude nothing. The death penalty has been almost totally abolished. This means that the person who kills another is certainly to survive while denying and depriving the victim of his right. I'm going to fast forward a little bit, going to this part of the chapter where it says, the devil and his influences are denied as myths, while on the same time his handiwork is everywhere manifest, even, even openly promoted and familiarized through such mediums as popular demonic films, music, and even cartoons. God is likewise relegated to the myths, while reflection of his attributes such as truth and justice and mercy in human societies everywhere, though it is manifestly missing. It remains to say that the Islamic point of view, the Western civilization is inevitably the last stage in human degeneracy. The downward trend has been progressing from thousands of years, but it is accelerated, has now become insane. To reach rock bottom in this process, there had to emerge a civilization totally cut off from all spiritual and all higher principles, leading to chaos at all levels, together with the inability to recognize such chaos from what it really is. Such civilization must offer the appearance of unparalleled excellence in everything material and have gone such a long way in the process of redefinition and inversion as to deprive its people all the power of discriminate. This sets the stage for the crowning events. In the process, the appearance of the impostor. He is described in the hadith as able to move across the face of earth as swiftly as rain clouds, carried from wind, and ride on the mountain so great that the distance between its ears is 40 cubits. Furthermore, his voice will carry so far that it will be heard by the people of the East and those of the West. These descriptions nowadays is easily translatable into current existing technology device. We can assert with confidence that the West is now ready for the imposter. People are mentally imprisoned in the tangible world, and this is precisely the dimension that the imposter will be able to master, and he shall show them such wonders in that they will rapidly accept whatever he claims. He shall wish to make. It may appear from our previous description of the generation of Muslim societies and our description of the chapter of the West that they stand equal in this respect. This is not so. The kind of inversion that we have just described is something that has already been consummated and normalized in the West, whereas among Muslims, although the trend is similar, it is much less widespread and is still recognized as abnormal. So, with that being said, that chapter talks about the Dajjal, and I just love the way he put it, Mustafa al-Badawi. He put in such a beautiful term, right? Where showing that we are so used to this abnormality, right, of the West, and that it's called, you call it the inverted civilization, where we think we have all this technology and we think we have all this power, but yet this is almost a delusion, right? And what is the reality of things is that we have actually degenerated the human soul. We technologically, yes, we're so advanced than ever before, but what has happened to the morality of our actual society? And this is exactly what I want to take this time to talk about Muhammad Qasim bin Abdul Karim's dreams and how he specifically talks about this, right? So just so anybody who's watching this and does not know who Muhammad Qasim is, right? Muhammad Qasim has been getting divine dreams from Allah, and he's blessed that he saw the Prophet ﷺ multiple times in his dreams, right? And in these dreams, it is almost, you would say, it is a good news for the believers, as well as uh, you would say calamities are going to start befalling the Muslims specifically, right? And this is a warning and also a bashara, right? A warning and also good news for us. So those who are able to take heed can actually navigate the proper way. We have also come down to the time that this is very important. It's very important that what's it called? People recognize that we are not living in a normal life. What we have now is not usually the norm. It's the abnorm. So abnorm. So pretty much what's going to happen is that um it sets the stage for the imposter to come. And this imposter, when he comes, is going to be a very, very, very hard test. The Prophet ﷺ said, every prophet warned their nation of this. Every nation, even Noah, alayhi salam, who has been here for many hundreds of thousands of years, has warned his nation about the Dajjal. The Prophet ﷺ also said that I am the final messenger and final and the last prophet come to this ummah. So he has to come amongst you guys. And all the ulama agree that yes, we are nearing the end of time, nearing the end of days. So this is a time that Muslims have to be aware that yes, there are great stuff that's going to happen now, and certain events are going to start taking place. So it is important that we recognize that we need to have a kind of a protection for ourselves, right? So I just want to say that anything that ever happens to us, we should also say that it's our fault, right? So if something bad happens to you, it's because we didn't take preparation, right? So everybody knows that there's always a rainy day, right? A rainy day always comes, and that's inevitable. But the question is, what have you prepared for that rainy day? And unfortunately, most of us do not prepare for that rainy day. And in these dreams, there is about to come a lot of rainy days. And if we're not paying attention and we're not preparing for it as we should be, then and we don't and what does it mean prepare to take the right steps, right? So a lot of people are gonna look at this and say, you know what, these dreams, sure, they're nice and everything, and yeah, they're all rainy days, but we don't need to do anything. And a lot of people say, let's see what happens. I'm not saying he's not telling the truth or nothing, but let's wait until let's see the dreams come to fruition, and then we'll take action, right? But it's gonna be too late, right? Let's take Yusuf alayhi salam when he had his dream, right? When the Pharaoh had the dream, and he asked anybody who can anybody interpret this dream, right? And the dream is a warning from Allah saying, something's about to come down. And the king could have just ignored it, although he had it 3 times. But when he insisted, he's like, I need to know what's going on. What does this mean, right? And he knew that it was a very big thing. When Yusuf alayhi salam interpreted the dream, he knew, there's going to be 7 years of drought, 7 years of good time, and 7 years of drought. So what we must do is prepare in the 7 years, right, to overcome that. And likewise, these dreams that Muhammad Qasim is having are the exact same thing. Whether you believe it or not, that's another story. But take necessary precaution, right? So when the time and the calamities do happen, and they will happen, because not only did Muhammad Qasim saying this, our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also said that. So we as a Muslim should also listen to our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he says, "Hey, this is going to happen." And anybody who has an ounce of rationality understands that we're living in unprecedented times. So for us not to take heed of certain things, it's very, very foolish. So I urge everybody to look into Muhammad Qasim's dreams. They are very important. And those who are on the sidelines, I want to say that whether you do anything or you don't do anything, Allah's going to fulfill His plans. So you should ask yourself, what do you want to stand within those plans? What do you want to be on the sideline and just hang out, And when stuff happens, you're like, yeah, I want to join, right? Because we also know when the dreams do come true and they do start to fall to fruition, a lot of people are going to be flying and begging to come into that fold and to be amongst those people. But the opportunity is now. The opportunity is now before it takes off. So those, I advise those people to, the helpers especially, to start taking role and start being more effective, being more deliberate, because we are being given a bigger manna, and we're lucky. And I advise all the Muslims, to start to give da'wah of Islam, even if it's one ayah, because we will all be counted, including myself. I speak for myself first of all. We all stand in front of Allah, and we would all be held accountable and saying why we did not spread our message that is so beautiful that the whole world should know about, and why we stayed quiet. We did not say nothing. And with that, I would say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Take care.